Welcome to yoga. Today we're going to try a little chair yoga, maybe some on the floor as well, but definitely working with a chair. So go ahead and grab a chair without arms if possible. If you do have, if that's all you have, then that will work, but preferably without arms. And because whenever I sit in a chair, my feet don't quite hit the floor where it makes it comfortable and my pelvis has to pull forward. So I'm going to take some blocks and place them underneath the feet. You could do that with a bolster or other items just to kind of lift your feet up. So as you come to a seated position, and make sure that your knees and your hips are about in the same line so that you don't feel like here, I would feel like I was kind of being pulled forward. Or if I were to sit back, I would slump back. So I want to make sure that I'm sitting tall, feet planted, about hip distance. And hands just resting on the thighs. Let's start here with a little lift of your shoulders, up, back, and down. And take another circle. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pull back. And one more. As you allow your shoulders just to rest all the way back. Palms can stay resting on your thighs. They can be down or up, your choice. And take a moment just to start tapping into your breath and a mental scan of your body today. So on the inhale, I want you to inhale completely, all the way down as though you were just relaxed in the sit bones beneath you. And you could breathe all the way down to your seat. And let that breath rise up into the middle of the waist, even into your low back, around the rib cage, and all the way up toward the sternum and the shoulder blades. And then with your exhale, begin that exhale the same way that you began the inhale, starting with your seat first, as though you could draw your sit bones now a little closer together, and as though they could lift up away from the seat without you lifting off the chair. Then drawing in and up, your ribs now drawing toward the waist, the shoulders staying relaxed, the chest soft. And again, drawing a big deep breath in. Everything is completely relaxed. You expand in all directions. So think of that breath as it's kind of pushing down and then out all the way around the body. And exhale, completely drawing in and up from your seat, your sit bones, pubic bone, all the way through the belly, the middle of the waist, even into the center of your back and chest, just to let it fall, everything coming in towards center. Another breath in, and on your breath in, on your inhale, I want you to think about just letting everything become soft, relaxed. On the exhale, allow everything to draw towards center, that's in the center or core of your body. And this will start to help you to learn to relax your pelvic floor and then also tone the pelvic floor without concentrating on just that muscle. So this breath work also helps us to tone the pelvic floor and abdominals, along with the intercostal muscles, the muscles between the ribs. They're expanding as well on that inhale. And then they contract on the exhale. So just a gentle contraction, pulling the ribs in. And as you're sitting up tall, crown of the head toward the sky, eyes can remain closed here. We'll let the arms drop for just a moment, and your head falling to side, just very gentle, slow movements. Just move with your breath. So again, the eyes might remain closed, or you could have a very soft slit through the eyelid to gaze somewhere ahead of you. You're just going to inhale when your head comes to center, or just follow the breath. Let the breath tell you when to move. And on the exhale, let your head fall to the side. And we'll take that a couple more times. We'll work today on a little bit more mobility and range of motion rather than just holding a stretch. So today I want you to really think about the mobility and movement of your joints. Okay, coming back to center, let's bring the hands to the knees and just start a little lift through the chest, seated cat-cow, and exhale, pull the belly in, rounding back, but without shrugging your shoulders. So if you're like I am, and I'm a few inches away from my seat back here, I've got space behind me. And on that exhale, I can kind of press back toward the back of the seat and kind of use that as a guide to press into, and then inhale, coming back up. Exhale, scooping. Same thing as when you're doing your cat-cow in your tabletop position. I want you to really focus on not shrugging the shoulders, but rather pulling the shoulder blades closer together and then pulling them or pushing them apart, kind of pull as though you could draw them apart and get a little bit more hollow in the chest. And then pull back, open the chest. And we'll take just one more of these seated cat-cows. And with your feet planted, do put a little bit of pressure into your feet, feeling the grounding effect of the feet pressing down. And as you come back, sitting tall again, I want you to take your left arm out to the side, and we'll just start to pull that shoulder blade back and just squeeze it into the back without turning the other side. So without twisting, just pull back like you could push it back to the wall behind you and bring the elbow into center. So oftentimes we do this little cactus arm movement, like with an open close and up and down with both arms. So sometimes it's nice just to take a moment and do this one side at a time so you can really feel what's happening on each side. Okay, so we'll draw back, squeeze it back, drop your shoulder blade down, then pull it to center, as close to the center of your body, right at your sternum line if you can, and then pull back. So still finding movement with your breath. So we'll inhale, expand and open again. Exhale, contract and draw to center. So notice how this movement here, this movement of your arm is even mimicking that same action. So we're going to draw away, inhale. And then exhale, draw to center. So now taking that arm out to the side, I want you just to reach it out and then rotate. So rotate it all the way around and then rotate the opposite direction all the way back. So I'm just going to rotate so that the hand flips all the way up toward the sky if possible. Rotating the shoulder is going to kind of dive down a little. That's okay. And then I'm going to externally rotate it all the way back. Internal rotation forward and external rotation back. So you can kind of really dive into that, literally, dive into it and then pull it back so you can add a little bit more exaggeration if you like. Rotating forward and then pulling back, and let's take two more. Inhale. On that exhale, notice if you can feel the muscles under your arm even as you rotate and pull back down just a little bit. And now take that moment to pause here. I want you to sweep that arm up and over. The other arm can fall to the side. Bring it back down, palm faces down, and then flip it back up. So now we've got that external rotation and reaching lateral or to the side. Starting to open up the side waist. Inhale, I want you to keep both sit bones planted. Exhale, lift up really tall and then over to the waist. Sometimes it helps to hold on to your chair. If you're feeling a little wobbly, take one more. Exhale and reach it up and over, good. Come back to center. Let's take that to the other side. So right arm now going up like a little half cactus arm and bring it back. Inhale. Exhale, bring it to the center, right about to the sternum. Pull back, squeeze. You can facilitate that squeezing with the opposite side as well, just keeping this side planted though. You can still add a little squeeze with the other shoulder blade as well. So inhale, open. Really pull back. Exhale. Find that breath pattern. Inhale, opening. Exhale, close. We'll take two more. Really pull back. Core is strong. Even in this movement, I want you to activate deep into the core, drawing in and up through pelvic floor and then engaging your girdle muscles, but on the exhale. So on the inhale, continue to relax and hold here for just a moment. Take it out to the side, and we're gonna find that internal, external rotation. So internal, meaning you're bringing it in, kind of rotating all the way up and around, and then take it back, palm flips to the sky, and the thumb is behind you. Okay. Now rotate thumb to the front, and then it should continue with the rotation as far around as you can. Bring it back and pull back. So you might even notice a little tingling might happen on one side or maybe both. For me, this is my side that I have a little more trouble with from time to time. I have a little bursitis in this shoulder, and when it's activated especially, it can be very cumbersome. Here, I'm feeling a little more tingling on that side just because I have a lot more stuff happening over here. So just notice how you feel. Notice what's going on from side to side. Let's take 2 more. And again, you can kind of add that little exaggeration, pull back, and then pull forward, and pull back. And let's take the last one, come up, and pause. Palm to the sky, other arm can drop down by your side. You might hold on to your chair as you reach up and over. Bring it back down, inhale. Exhale, reach up and over. Good. So I want you to really think about the sit bones beneath you staying really heavy. So even on that right side here, as you're reaching your right arm, anchor on that right side so that you can stay long and still grounded. Let's take 1 more. All the way up. Good, and bring it back down. Very nice. Now, bringing your hands, just let them rest again right on the thighs. So lifting through your chest for just a moment. Draw the shoulders back. I want you to start to nod your chin towards your chest and just kind of look down. Bring it back up. Inhale. Maybe lift the chin just a slight bit more, never allowing your head just to drop back. We're just going to lift a little, and then I want you to exhale and tuck the chin, drop down. So we'll take 2 more here. Inhale. And exhale. And then on the next one, you're going to stay there for a few rounds of breath and allow yourself just to round as much as you feel comfortable rounding through your back, your upper back, your neck. And start to let the chest or the chin rest toward the chest, but still breathe. I want you to really focus on your breath. So inhale here. Exhale, just let your head become heavier. On this one, you can allow the forehead to drop a little lower each time with the exhale. Start imagining that you're aiming your nose towards your belly button. I want you to feel your tail pressing down toward the chair. 1 more breath. So we're attempting to get a little more release in the back of the neck, back of the shoulders, and all the way down. So we'll feel that fascia, the soft tissue, all the way from your neck down, maybe towards your tailbone even here. I want you to roll it back up. So that low back tends to get very restricted, and even though we're in a forward head position quite often, computers, phones, whatever it is, we still get really tight in the back of the neck. So all of that tissue connected, I want you to really think about those moments that you can help release that for yourself. So we'll come back to seated. I'm going to move my blocks out of the way. Just set them over to the side for a moment. Now as we come to standing, I'm going to take the chair. Mine's pretty heavy, so depends on how sturdy your chair is. Make sure that you have something that you can hold onto, whether it's a wall or a chair. And now as I stand here, I'm going to take the weight into my left foot, or your left foot, so standing mirroring here. Right side, we're going to add just mobility work, so it's just a dynamic movement. So it just means I want you to lift it up behind you just slightly, engage your core, And now just let it swing like a pendulum. There should not be a lot of action. Like once it gets going, should be honestly like a pendulum. Like it should just be allowed to kind of move freely without you thinking about kicking it forward and back. Your core active, and now the leg just flows. Let it flow, okay? So if you need to hold on to something more sturdy, take a wall or a bigger piece of furniture that you can move yourself next to. So remember, this is not a lift and a extension, a lift and an extension. This is just a swing. Just let it go. And it can be difficult to let go, but let it go. Okay, hang out there for just a moment. Now, I want you to bring that leg up, and we're gonna go in and out. Very similar. But I want you now, this right or left side that's standing and balancing is going to have to engage and stay contracted a little bit more to keep you steady. So notice if you're kind of following with your leg. I want you to anchor your left side, right side only moving in and out. And for me, I've noticed that I will have some grinding or some clicks and pops in my hips. So I want you to do like I'm doing here and just kind of move yourself down with that knee. Did it go away? If you have the same issue I do, if you don't have that, it's okay. Just notice how it feels. I can notice it stopped. All right, I take it back up higher. See if you can stay in the place where you feel like you don't have a lot of resistance and you can just move in and out. Okay, now take little circles all the way around. Again, if you find that clicking and popping, see if you can anchor yourself and then just take that smaller and find a place that you're not having to adjust so much. All right, so I want you to engage your core, keep those hips steady, reverse your circle all the way around, good. And then go ahead, take that last one, and we're gonna bring that leg over and have a seat in figure 4, come back up. So I'm just gonna turn sideways to show you. Okay, so sitting the hips back and then back up, not allowing your front knee to move forward or the leg that you're standing on to move forward. We're sending the hips back and coming up. Okay, so sit back, come up, good. 3 more, down. Deep breath in. Exhale, good. 1 last time. Hold it right here. I want you to send this right leg across like you're just sitting in a chair. You're gonna set it across. Okay? Hold it here, lift the chest, pull the belly in, hang out there for just a moment. You can test your balance, releasing, and then we'll release the whole situation, come back up to standing and rest. Shake it out. So we're gonna go to the other side. Don't worry, we'll get deeper into our stretches, but I wanna add a little more mobility into those hips. All right, so taking left side, I want you to swing it. So the first time you pull back, you're kind of loading it up, and then you're just letting it go. It's like a little wind-up toy. Just let it flow. So deep breath, exhale. I want you to feel like it could get a little heavier even. Maybe this leg feels like it could get a little bit longer each time it swings. You can feel hopefully a little more loose through that joint, creating more fluid, lubrication. Now, we're gonna come back up to center and then open and close. Just take it out, bring it in. Now, it doesn't have to be real high. Once again, you can kind of play with where it is. You can also play with the adjustment of your hips. At first, this side that's lifted, the left side wants to lift up. I'm gonna even that out. And just see if we can open and close a few times. Keeping the right side steady. You can move that down, move it back up, and we'll create some little circles. One direction. Once again, notice if there any clicking or popping happening. As long as there's not pain associated, we're usually in the clear, but it still can be quite annoying and a little troublesome. So I want you to lift up tall. It can make your motion seem like it's a little shorter, so I want you to lift up really tall. See if you can kind of get up out of the joints. Lift tall, see if it takes some of the energy out of that hip, and then reverse your circle. We'll take it just a few more times in your circle, and now swing that leg across. Have a seat, figure 4, seated, come up, inhale. exhale down. Deep breath in. See if you can exhale slowly through the nose. Inhale, foot is flexed, the ankle that's crossed over. Good. And 2 more. Down. Last one. And give it a little hold. I want you to slide that leg across. Now, if that's not comfortable, stay where you were. But if you can slide it all the way across, I want you to hold it here. Just squeeze your inner thighs together. Take that arm out. Other arm away from your chair, maybe. Not on this side. All right, so hold it there. Little eagle leg action. Come on up and release it again. All right. Very good. So standing behind your chair now. I'm going to move it so that it's at one end of my mat. Okay. So standing behind the chair, placing hands on the chair and zip up through the belly. So belly to spine, pubic bone all the way to belly button, and taking the left leg, send it back and pull the belly up, chest lifted, tail long. Okay. Just lifting that leg up and slowly lift the toe off the floor. Keep the chest lifted. I want you to take your opposite arm, right arm up, and just hold here for a moment. Deep breath, gazing forward. And if you can take that opposite arm and you can lift it up, or you could even do airplane arms out to the side. Just a little standing back bend, balancing action here. I want you to gently come forward. Bring your chest toward the chair and then come back up. Okay? You can reach those airplane arms out again. Inhale, come forward, and exhale, coming up. Good balance. Come forward, hands can stay to the chair, or you can just gaze over the chair depending on how much support you want today. 2 more. Inhale. And exhale, give me 1 more time. Pull up deep through core line. Find your balance. If you need to hold on, it's okay. And we'll come back to center. Release, kind of shake it out. We're going to get deeper stretch for those back and glutes here in just a moment, and hip flexors. All right, so stay with me. We're taking that toe back. Now, we're going to start with that just little balancing act first. I want you to send the toe back, squeeze the glute on that side. So right side contracted. Pull up through the deep core line, lift the chest. Start to float the toe up. You could take opposite arm and reach it up. And then both arms, if possible, reaching. Just balancing, gazing. Arms may move out to the sides. And then coming forward, once again, you could always place hands here on your chair and then back out, or keep them there the whole time. Inhale. You could also, just like I'm doing here, have it free, moving forward and back, focusing on balance. Inhale. If you ever need to recalibrate by holding on to the chair for a moment, that's perfectly okay. Don't feel like you're cheating there. Take what you need, don't worry about the rest. Let's try 2 more. Inhale. Move forward. Still feel like you're kind of pulling up and away from whatever you're moving toward. So here, moving toward the chair, but as I'm going toward it, I want to feel like I'm lifting up away from it at the same time. There's always that dynamic duo happening in our yoga practice. And bring it back down and relax. Very good. All right. So we're going to take the chair. Oh, actually, sorry. You can stay there. Let's take that down dog because it's well needed. Okay, well deserved. So step back. Feet, I'm going to take feet pretty wide here, about the width of the chair. Let the arms reach forward and let your chest and head drop. Now you can gaze forward just a little bit so your head's not completely hanging. So you're going to gaze just slightly underneath the chair there. Deep breath. Keep scooping in the lower belly. And the knees can be bent as much as you care to bend them. So great way to open up the chest. Get a stretch for the shoulders. Go back. Just take 2 more breaths here. Start to pull the belly in. We're gonna walk it forward now. So as you walk forward, now taking your chair, we'll have a seat again, but we're gonna get a little deeper into our hip flexors. So if you also find that your chair feels pretty hard underneath your sits bones, you can take a blanket and just pad that, cushion it up just a little. So we're gonna turn to the left. I'm gonna hold on to the chair just so for balance purposes. So right at the edge of your chair. So notice again, mine is kind of, if you wanted to take a block under your foot, you can on this front leg. So depending on how long your legs are, how tall your chair is. Do want that foot grounded though, pressing into the floor or a block. So you're right at the edge of your chair. You're dropping your right leg down, just underneath your knee at first. And then I want you to send it back, just like you would for a lunge. So if we were in a high lunge position. So drawing the belly in and up, lift the chest. So it should be a really great stretch here for your hip flexor. But with taking it onto the chair, we're taking a lot of that energy out that we would have to use for strength on the front leg. So here, I want you to just focus on the stretch that you're getting here. Also, the little activation of your back bend. So taking your right arm, sweep it up, and then bring it all the way around into that big circle. So again, moving that shoulder as far as you can. Now, if that's not an option, if that shoulder's feeling a little janky today, I want you just to take your arm maybe in and out. You could take this action instead, or just move to where you can. Maybe it's just a circle on the floor, right there. Okay, so just move to the action that works best for your body today. Let's take 3 more. 2. And last one. And then release. So we're going to get a great little twist here. As you come around, bring that right leg back. You can always help it up there if it feels a little stuck. So I'm going to take both feet to the floor or to a block, once again, depending on how secure your feet are and where that hip knee alignment is for you. So now I'm scooting all the way into the chair and scooting back to the back, what's now my back edge. So I'm going to scoot pretty far back into it. Sit up nice and tall, inhale. Try to give yourself a little room between you and the back of the chair and start to turn toward it. As you turn toward the back of your chair, you're going to frame the back of the chair with your hands. So left and right hand will separate to either side of your chair. Push into your left hand gently. Pull with your right hand gently, not overpowering. Try to squeeze your knees toward each other. Take a deep breath in and see if you can gently draw yourself around just a tiny bit more. We're going to keep those hips nice and steady. Eventually your head may turn as well, looking back over your left shoulder. Take last breath here. And then come all the way back to center as you walk it around. And as you come to center first, I want you to take a moment here to draw your left knee up toward your chest, knee to nose, but I don't want you to strain to take your nose down. So just think about kind of rounding gently forward and then bring it back down. So we'll switch sides, lift that knee up, hold it, but watch your shoulders without shrugging, and bring it down. We'll take it again, lift up, give a little rounding, and one more time. So this is a great one to do. You can hold it on the outside if you like, or behind the leg. Great action to do, whether you're seated or even standing. If you end up having to do a lot of standing, take that moment. I'm that weird person that when I'm out shopping, especially at a flea mall or someplace where I'm out for a long period of time, I will be the person that's doing weird lunges in the middle of an aisle and standing and doing Malasana squats in the middle of an aisle. I know, it's like one of those weird things, but I'm that person. So please feel free to follow me, join my tribe. All right, do what you gotta do to make yourself feel better. We're dropping that leg down again. So now your left leg dropping down into this great hip flexor stretch here, supported high lunge. So to draw that up, energy draws upward as you contract this back glute. Okay? So without having to hold yourself up here, maybe you feel like you can add a little bit more energy to this action of the back leg. So I want you to really contract the back glute and draw up through the belly, drawing hip point, dialing it up. We'll sweep the left arm up, and then as you're ready, rolling it back, or take those options I gave you on the other side. You could just draw a circle with your hand down low. You can take it in and out from side to center. So take the action that feels best for you. Inhale. Exhale, pull back. Very nice. 3 more. And 2. 1 more time. And great job. Go ahead and bring it back, and you can help your leg by pulling it with your hand slightly around. And then have that seat scoot all the way toward the back of your chair. Anchoring your feet. Sitting tall, inhale. Start to turn to the back of your chair. See if you can separate your hands to frame the back of the chair here from left to right. And once you're there, if it's also, we just want you to know that if that also bothers your shoulder, so again, if you have anything going on with your shoulder, just relax the arm that it's bothering. Just relax it and hold on with the other hand. It's okay. So inhale. Exhale. See if you can push slightly with your right hand. Draw with your left hand, meaning pull gently with your left hand. Just a very, very gentle aid of your arms here. Eventually, with your exhale, now your head may turn. Try to squeeze your knees together. Anchor your hips. I want you to rotate through the middle of the spine. 1 more breath. And then come back around to center. Very nice. All the way back around. And then as you find that center space, I want you to take your left leg out. And then come forward, supporting yourself on your right leg. So you may need to kind of scoot pretty close to the edge of your chair to do this. And then coming forward. Okay. Come back up, inhale. Exhale, come forward. And as you take the last one, I want you to come forward, okay, and hold it here. You're still putting a little softness behind this knee. You're not going to lock it out, but you are going to engage the quadriceps here. Pull the toes back quite a bit. If you can reach your toes, you might even pull them back a little further, just getting a deeper stretch on your calf, but it depends on you. Don't round or hunch to do that. Just feel what you feel and stay there. Come back up. Let's switch to the other side. So supporting on the left leg, come forward. Flex the toes on the right side. Push through the heel. Exhale, come forward. And come back up. Inhale. Exhale, forward. And you've got your last one here. Coming forward, take a pause. Once again, if you can reach your toes without a lot of strain or reaching, I want you to just kind of pull them back a little. Deep breath in. Exhale it out. Come back up. Very nice. Now we'll do seated figure 4. So if you have your blocks or bolsters, you want to take something underneath the foot, feel free to do so. So I'm going to take that under the right foot. You could have both blocks there if you like. Okay. And bringing the left leg up. Now, if this is too high, if your legs are already pretty long, this may be just a little added extra you don't need. And even if your legs aren't really long and your hips are kind of tight, this may be that little extra that you're like, I don't really need that today. So you can always start with your foot on the floor, right, and then work your way up. So if you get this knee up and it's like way up here, drop that foot back down. All right, so inhale. I want you to try to drop your knee further away from you as you come forward. I'm just allowing this forearm to rest across the space here to add a little bit of weight and come back up. Inhale. I've always got to make sure that this ankle bone of the leg that's across is on the outside of my thigh so that it's not sitting right on top of the leg. That's a little uncomfortable. So I want you to do what makes you a little more comfortable here. Let's go 3, coming forward, and 2 with your breath. Last 1. back up. We're going to cross it the rest of the way over, just like we did earlier when we were standing. So if you need to move your foot, just move it into center. Moving it all the way across. Now at this point, if you feel like you want to move into a deeper variation of what's a seated cat or seated eagle pose, you can walk this bottom and move that. You can walk this bottom foot over to your right, maybe hook the toes and bring it back. Now never do that in a forcing way. All right, so if that's not for you, don't do it. But that's one way when you're seated that you can get into that if you'd like to sit that way. All right, so a little variation. We're going to take the arms out. Our left leg is on top, so let's take that right arm, sweep it in front. Okay, sweep your left arm underneath and either move here to big hug, lifting your elbows, or find the wrap with your bottom hand and into eagle arms. So either one of those two positions works perfectly. And I want you to press your elbows together and lift off of your chest. Okay, so continue, specifically if you have a shoulder issue, just move into this little hug position. All right, so whichever one you've chosen, make sure it's right for you. And I want you to even your shoulders out a little by dropping your right shoulder. Lift your elbows away from your chest. Pull in through the center of your chest. Kind of push the space behind you between your shoulder blades. Whew. Tuck the chin just a little bit and see if you don't notice all that stuff that's being held there, hanging out in your upper shoulders and neck. And then while you're here, now start to pull the belly in and round yourself forward. So I'll turn slightly. So we're going to round it forward as though you're just going to bring your knees and your elbows closer together. We're just in this seated eagle pose. Take another breath. Fill up that space in your back, and then exhale, start to come up, back to seated, unwind carefully wherever you are, lift up and over, very good, shake it out. We're going to take that to the opposite side. So once again, if you have a block that you want to use, go for it. I'm going to take that other leg up. You might be slightly different on each side. So we're going to take the right leg across now. And if you feel like there's more range of motion on this side, you can definitely add a little extra. All right, so flexing the foot, sitting tall. I'm just going to allow the arms to rest across at an angle. Inhale. Exhale, coming forward. And then lifting back up. Inhale. Exhale, coming forward. And inhale up. So once you're in this pattern, I want you to also notice that your shoulders are staying back. You're leading with your chest. So the heart space here, moving forward, always leading the way. Okay, try a couple more. Inhale. Exhale. Really kind of drop that right knee down, not by pushing on the knee itself, but allow the forearm, if possible, to add just a little bit of assistance there. And then we're coming back up, ready for cross leg position. So lift it up as high as you can on the inner thighs. So it's helpful if you actually physically place yourself here, and you can even pull from the inner thigh with your left hand to kind of pull it up and around. Okay, so kind of literally make some adjustments there, okay? Don't feel weird about that. It's okay. All right, so now once again, if you like to hook that foot, you can walk it over. You don't have to by any means, but if that's something that feels good for you, go for it. Otherwise, just stay in a cross leg position or even a figure four position. We're going to take those arms out, taking that left arm on top, right arm sweeps under, and either moving to your big hug again or back to those eagle arms. Okay, so just wrapping bottom hand around the wrist, let the top fingers be free. Inhale, press elbows together, lift them off of the chest, push back between the shoulder blades. Deep breath in. Every exhale right now, I want you to drop your chin toward chest and push back between your shoulder blades. Then start to make your way into your rounded position as though you were going to round down towards your thighs. Take Taking last couple breaths here. Starting to lift back up. And then unwind. Shake it out. Head side to side. Go ahead and wiggle it out a little bit. Awesome work. Sweep the arms up. We're going to give you a moment for a little stillness though. I just want you to take a moment to reach up and then over to one side and then over to the other. Now, as you're ready, just to take a little stillness, decide if you want to stay right here. If you could just go back to where you started, but you'll be sitting all the way back supported in your chair. Another option, if you feel like you'd like to get down on the floor to help, especially because this will help to release your back, you can take this supported or restorative position, a little energy freeing pose or constructive rest, some might call it. You can have, doesn't matter what we call it, it's very good for us. So you can take something to cushion your legs here. If your legs are long enough and your chair was the right height when you sat in it, you probably don't need any other assistance than maybe some cushion in your chair for your legs. For me, I know that my chair was a little bit tall and my hips didn't line up, so I'm going to add a little bit of lift underneath my back. Okay. So as I add that, and then I'm just going to slide the legs up onto the chair. You could do this with an ottoman or a couch as well. So I'm just allowing the low back to completely rest. And if you can just kind of push yourself up to the edge here, your feet could even go through if you have a little space in your back of your chair like I do. So you could do this or this exact same posture in a chair, but your sits bones would be sitting down on the chair. So either seated or reclining with this supported constructive position. So wherever you are, I want you to take a moment and just allow yourself to get settled. Feel the effects of your practice today. Maybe notice if you're feeling a little more, maybe the fascia even is a little tingly in your body. Hopefully you'll feel a little more open than when you began. Allow your belly to rise and fall softly without much thought. The space between the eyes softens as the tongue falls away from the teeth and the jaw is relaxed. Feel the eyes sinking deeper into the sockets, the shoulders just resting down away from the ears, low back, feeling rested and supported. Just allow your breath to move in and out, and with a moment of gratitude for the next breath that passes. So stay here as long as you like. And this is even if you're doing the restorative chair, reclining position. This is an awesome, awesome thing to come back to anytime you need to just let your low back rest. If your hip flexors even are feeling really tight, it doesn't look like you'd be releasing them, but you actually can release them this way because your psoas does attach in your low back. So this is also something that will help you with that as well. So this is something you could do without a full practice attached to it. Just find this position when you need a little extra restoration. And then come back with me here as you start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, your wrists and your ankles. And then as you start to draw your knees in towards your chest and then rolling to one side. As you carefully roll to one side, or If you're seated, just stay there and start to awaken. We'll come back up to seated if you're on the floor. And once you make your way into seated, sitting tall, take a moment here. Sweep the arms up. Let the hands meet at center and bring it down to the heart. As you take a moment to bow to your own inner wisdom, your own inner teacher. And thanks for showing up, for getting here, for getting on your mat and in the chair today. Namaste.